the unexpected invitation. The midday sun beat down on Zara Patel's shoulders as she crouched in the tall grass, camera poised to capture the rare Bengal florican that had been reported in the nature reserve. After 3 hours of patient waiting, the elusive bird finally appeared, its distinctive plumage catching the light perfectly. Zara's finger pressed the shutter, capturing the moment with practiced precision. "Got you," she whispered, reviewing the image on her camera's display with satisfaction. This would be the centerpiece of her upcoming wildlife conservation exhibition. Her phone buzzed in her pocket, breaking the reverent silence. It was Rajan, the literature professor she'd been dating for just over a year. They'd met at a university fundraiser where she'd been showcasing her wildlife photography. "Hey, you," she answered softly, still mindful of disturbing the birds. "Zara, I need to talk to you about something." Rajan's voice carried an unusual tension. "My grandfather's 80th birthday celebration is this weekend and, well, I'd like you to come with me." "That sounds nice," she replied, packing up her equipment. "Why do you sound so nervous about it?" There was a pause. "It's just that my family can be a bit intense. We haven't really talked much about them." That was true. In their year together, Rajan had mentioned his family only in passing, saying they were in business. Zara had assumed they ran a modest family enterprise, much like her parents' local restaurant. "I'm sure they'll be lovely," she assured him, walking back toward the reserve entrance. "When do we leave?" "Tomorrow morning. We'll need to fly to Mumbai." "Fly?" Zara stopped walking. "I thought your family lived in Pune." "They have a place in Mumbai too," he said vaguely. "The driver will pick you up at 7. "Driver?" A small frown creased her brow. "Rajan, is there something you're not telling me?" When she arrived at the airport the next morning, Zara expected to be taken to the commercial terminal. Instead, the uniformed driver led her to a private hangar where a sleek jet waited, the name Shah International emblazoned on its side. Rajan stood at the foot of the stairs, looking simultaneously apologetic and anxious in a tailored suit that probably cost more than her entire camera collection. "Surprise?" he offered weakly. "Rajan Shah," she said slowly, piecing together fragments of conversations, as in Shah International Holdings, the conglomerate that owns half the tech startups in Asia. He nodded, reaching for her bag. "I should have told you sooner. My grandfather started the company, and my father expanded it globally. So when you said your family was in business, I meant they own one of the largest private companies in India," he admitted. "I didn't want it to change things between us. You loved me for being just Rajan, the literature professor with a passion for Tagore's poetry." Zara stared at him, unsure whether to feel betrayed by his omission or understanding of his reasons. "A year, Rajan? We've been together a year and you never thought to mention you're from one of the wealthiest families in Asia? Would you have treated me the same if you'd known?" The question hung in the air between them as the jet engines began to whir. "I guess we'll never know now," she finally said, walking up the steps with her worn backpack slung over one shoulder, acutely aware of how out of place she would feel in his world, a world he had chosen to keep hidden from her until now. As the plane took off, Zara looked down at her simple cotton dress and wondered what other surprises awaited her at the birthday celebration of Vikram Shah, a man whose name she recognized from business magazines but never imagined would be related to the humble professor who had captured her heart. Whispers among diamonds, the Shah family estate sprawled across 20 acres of manicured gardens, with a mansion that resembled a modern palace rising from the center like a gleaming monument to wealth. As Zara stepped from the car, her simple sundress fluttering in the breeze, she felt the weight of curious stares from staff and guests alike. "Don't be nervous," Rajan whispered, squeezing her hand as they walked through massive doors inlaid with intricate silver work. "Just be yourself." "That's exactly what I'm worried about," Zara murmured back. "Myself doesn't exactly fit in here." The grand hall was adorned with crystal chandeliers that refracted light into 1,000 dancing rainbows. Guests in designer clothes clustered in small groups, their laughter tinkling like the champagne glasses they held. Zara noticed how conversations paused as they passed, resuming in hushed tones once they were a few steps away. "Rajan, darling, you finally decided to grace us with your presence." A woman in her 50s approached, her silk sari and diamond jewelry exuding elegance. Her smile didn't reach her eyes as they assessed Zara. "And you must be the photographer we've heard so little about." Mother, this is Zara Patel. Zara, my mother, Amara Shah. Isku Shah. It's a pleasure to meet you. Zara extended her hand, which Amara briefly touched rather than shook. Charmed, I'm sure. Wildlife photography, isn't it? Such an interesting career choice. The way she emphasized interesting made it sound like a polite substitute for impractical or poor. Before Zara could respond, a young woman with sharp features and a sharper smile joined them. So this is why Cousin Rajan has been avoiding family gatherings. Too busy playing commoner in the university district? Nisha, Rajan acknowledged stiffly. This is Zara. I know who she is, Nisha replied, her gaze cutting. Social media is quite illuminating. Those wildlife photos are quaint, though I wonder if endangered animals pay as well as family obligations. Zara felt her cheeks burning. My work focuses on conservation. The payment is in preserving what's irreplaceable. How noble, Nisha smirked. Perhaps you could photograph our family next. We're quite the endangered species ourselves. Especially those of us who remember our responsibilities. As Amara led Rajan away to greet important guests, Zara found herself alone amid the opulence. She wandered toward a display of photographs, a timeline of Vikram, Shah's life and achievements. They're all watching to see if you'll break something. Expensive, came a low voice behind her. Zara turned to find a server with kind eyes. Is it that obvious I don't belong? To them, perhaps. But Mr. Vikram started with less than you have now. Before they could continue, a portly man snapped his fingers impatiently at the server. Boy, more champagne now. Right away, sir, the server said, moving quickly. And don't serve it warm like last time or I'll have a word with management. The man roughly grabbed the server's arm when he returned with the champagne, causing some to spill. Clumsy fool. This suit cost more than you'll earn in a year. Without thinking, Zara stepped forward. Excuse me, but he didn't spill it. You grabbed his arm. The hall grew quieter. The man blinked in surprise. Do you know who I am? Someone who needs a reminder about basic courtesy, Zara replied evenly. The champagne barely touched your sleeve. From the corner of her eye, Zara noticed an elderly man in a wheelchair, observing the exchange intently. His weathered face remained impassive, but something in his eyes, a sharp, evaluating gleam, told her this was Vikram Shah himself. And for reasons she couldn't explain, she felt he had been watching her all along. The grandfather's challenges evening descended, the Shah estate transformed. Hundreds of lanterns illuminated the gardens, and the grand dining hall glowed with soft golden light. 80 guests gathered around a table long enough to seat a small village, with Vikram Shah positioned at its head like a monarch presiding over court. Zara found herself seated far from Rajan, wedged between a technology magnate who spoke exclusively about his yacht collection and Nisha's husband, who hadn't looked up from his phone once. She felt like an exotic specimen under glass, particularly when she caught Amara whispering behind a manicured hand while glancing in her direction. Tell me, Ms. Patel, a board member called from across the table. How exactly did you and Rajan meet? Was it at one of his charitable projects? The implication hung in the air. Several guests hid smiles behind napkins. Professor Shah was giving a lecture on environmental themes in contemporary literature. Zara answered evenly. His analysis of humanity's relationship with nature was the most insightful I'd heard. How quaint, Nisha interjected. Though I'm surprised you weren't more interested in the relationship between humanity and prosperity. Silverware clinked against fine china as waitstaff served the fifth course. Rajan shot Zara an apologetic look from his seat beside his mother, but remained silent, a detail not lost on her. A sudden rapping of knuckles against wood silenced the room. Vikram Shah, who hadn't spoken all evening, raised a gnarled hand. Enough small talk, he declared, his voice surprisingly strong despite his frail appearance. Tonight is about legacy, what we leave behind when all this, he gestured to the opulence surrounding them, no longer matters. The elderly man beckoned to an attendant, who approached carrying a small rosewood box. Zara Patel, Vikram called, fixing her with those piercing eyes that seemed to see through pretense. Come here. A hush fell over the gathering as Zara rose uncertainly and approached. From the corner of her eye, she saw Amara stiffen, and Nisha exchange a meaningful look with her husband. Vikram opened the box. Inside, nestled on velvet, lay what appeared to be an ordinary river stone, smooth, gray, and utterly unremarkable. "This," he announced, lifting it for all to see, "is my most treasured possession, more valuable to me than everything else I own combined." Murmurs of confusion rippled through the guests. "And now, I entrust it to you until morning," he continued, placing it in Zara's palm. "By breakfast you will tell me its true value." "Father," Rajan's father, Dhruv, interjected sharply. "What is this about?" Vikram ignored him. "Many have sought the secret to the Shah fortune. Perhaps someone who never sought it might understand its foundation." Nisha's laugh cut through the tension. "Grandfather, you can't be serious. She'll probably have it appraised before midnight." "The stone isn't for selling," Vikram responded calmly. "It's for understanding." He turned back to Zara. "What others see as worthless might hold the greatest value. Question is, can you see it?" As conversations exploded around her, Zara stood holding the simple stone, aware that this was no mere eccentricity but a test, one whose parameters remained deliberately unclear. Rajan finally approached, his expression torn between confusion and concern. "I don't know what he's doing," he whispered. "That makes two of us," Zara replied, feeling the weight of the seemingly worthless object in her hand, and the heavier weight of expectation upon her shoulders. Beyond Price Long, after the guests had retired and the mansion fell silent, Zara sat cross-legged on her bedroom floor, the river stone before her. She had examined it carefully. No hidden markings, no unusual weight suggesting concealed treasure, nothing that would explain Vikram's declaration of its extraordinary value. "What am I missing?" she wondered aloud, turning the stone over in her palm for the 100th time. A gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. She opened the door to find the kind server from earlier. "Ms. Patel, I brought you some tea," he said, placing a tray on the side table. "You missed dessert?" "Thank you." Zara paused, realizing she didn't know his name. "Farid," he supplied. "I've worked for the Shah family for 47 years. His eyes fell on the stone. "So he gave it to you." Zara's attention sharpened. "You know about this?" Farid smiled enigmatically. "I know Mr. Vikram never parts with it. Not even for a day." After Farid left, Zara couldn't sleep. If the stone's value wasn't monetary, perhaps it was historical or cultural. She opened her laptop and researched the origins of the Shah fortune, finding only standard business articles praising Vikram's financial acumen. As dawn approached, she wandered the quiet mansion, stone in hand. In the library, she paused before a portrait of a young Vikram with a beautiful woman, their hands intertwined. Something in their pose struck her. The woman's hand was closed as if holding something small. Nearby stood a glass display containing faded newspaper clippings. One yellowed article caught her eye. "Local merchant secures loan for textile venture." The black and white photograph showed a younger Vikram outside a bank, clutching something in his palm, something small and round. Another display contained a simple silver frame with a handwritten note. "To believe in someone is to hold their dreams as carefully as this stone. With all my love, Priya." Pieces began falling into place. The family albums showed the same woman, Vikram's late wife, in their early days when they lived in a modest apartment above their first small shop. In nearly every photo from those struggling years, either Vikram or Priya held the stone. When morning came, Zara entered the breakfast room where the family waited tensely. Vikram sat watching her, those penetrating eyes betraying nothing. "Have you determined its value?" he asked. "I have," Zara replied, gently placing the stone before him. "This stone has no inherent monetary worth. Its true value lies in what it represents," Nisha scoffed. "How convenient," Zara continued, undeterred. "This was the first gift from your wife Priya, wasn't it? Given when you had nothing but dreams. She believed in you when no one else did." A ripple of surprise passed through the family. Vikram's expression remained unchanged. "You kept it through every stage of building your empire, not as a good luck charm, but as a reminder that true wealth isn't in what we own, but in being truly seen by someone who loves us for ourselves, not our potential or possessions." For the first time since her arrival, genuine emotion crossed Vikram's weathered face, a flicker of vulnerability quickly masked. "The stone's value," Zara concluded softly, "is that it represents the foundation of everything you've built. Not ambition or business acumen, but love and faith. Something you can't put a price on. Silence enveloped the room. Amara's teacup froze midway to her lips. Dhruv stared openly. Even Nisha appeared momentarily speechless. Then almost imperceptibly, Vikram Shah nodded. Legacy rewritten 6 months later. Zara stood on the balcony of the Shah Foundation's new headquarters, watching as children from local villages explored the interactive wildlife conservation exhibit she had designed. The space, once intended to be another luxury Shah hotel, had been transformed into an educational center promoting environmental awareness and sustainable development. "They love it," Rajan said, joining her at the railing. "Grandfather was right about you." Zara smiled, remembering the morning after she had revealed her understanding of the stone's significance. Vikram had summoned her to his private study, where centuries-old tapestries hung alongside modern art. "In 60 years," he had told her, "you're the first person to see the stone for what it truly is." Then he'd made an unprecedented decision, appointing Zara, an outsider, as director of the Shah Family Foundation, with full authority over the considerable funds allocated for philanthropy. The decision had sent shockwaves through the family. Dhruv had initially protested, while Amar withdrew into cold silence. Nisha had been the most vocal, calling it senility, until Vikram silenced her with a single sharp glance. Now, the grand opening of the center marked a visible shift. Dhruv stood nearby, engaged in animated conversation with conservationists he would have dismissed months ago. Even Amara had grudgingly acknowledged that Zara's vision had generated more positive press than their previous charity galas. "Ms. Patel," called a familiar voice. Fareed approached, no longer in server's attire but the crisp uniform of the foundation's administrative staff. "Mr. Vikram is asking for you." In the peaceful courtyard garden, Vikram sat beneath a blooming gulmohar tree, its flame-red flowers creating a canopy above his wheelchair. Age had not diminished his commanding presence, though his eyes had softened slightly since that first night. "My granddaughter-in-law," he greeted her, the term still new but spoken with unmistakable pride. The modest engagement ring on Zara's finger caught the sunlight. A simple band Rajan had chosen after finally understanding that honesty, not luxury, was what she valued. "The children are enjoying the exhibits," Zara reported, taking a seat beside him. "Children understand value better than most adults," Vikram replied. "They see wonder in what others dismiss as ordinary." He held the river stone, turning it thoughtfully, like Priya did. For the first time, he spoke openly of his late wife. "We met during monsoon season. I was 20, selling fabric from a pushcart. The rain came suddenly, ruining my entire inventory, everything I owned. As I stood there watching my dreams wash away, this young woman appeared beside me, picked up this stone from the flooded street and placed it in my palm." His weathered fingers traced the stone's smooth surface. "When rain washes everything away," he quoted, "it also reveals what remains. That's what she told me." The next day, she brought her father to invest in my new business. Not because I had anything to offer, but because she saw something in me beyond material worth. Vikram placed the stone in Zara's hand, closing her fingers around it. "Legacy isn't in buildings or bank accounts. It's in continuing to see value where others see nothing. You've reminded this family of something essential we had forgotten." Across the courtyard, Nisha approached cautiously. Her usual sharp demeanor softened. Behind her stood her daughter, a shy teenager who had been spending time with Zara, developing an unexpected interest in photography. "Keep this," Vikram said, nodding toward the stone. "The future of this family isn't just in what we build, but in remembering why we build it. Some things of true value should be passed on," as the Shah family gathered around them, not as business titans but as people, rediscovering connections beyond wealth. Zara realized that the true legacy being rewritten wasn't just the Shah fortune, but the meaning of fortune itself.